In this video, I'm going to walk you through some upgrades I made to a couple computers of mine. So I'm starting off on my Steam Machine computer that I use in my living room, and I am replacing the power supply and graphics card. So right now I'm just snipping the zip ties, holding together a lot of the cords so I can take all the power supply plugs out. It's a old one, and it's a brand that I'm not really familiar with, so I want to just replace it with a higher quality one. Here's the system with the existing graphics card and power supply. And now I'm removing the old graphics card, which was an Nvidia GeForce GT 610 with a little MSI cooler on it. It really didn't do much at all as far as graphics. Could probably play Minecraft, you know. This was a system gifted to me from my grandmother, and the last thing she'd be doing is playing games. Now I'm gonna go ahead and remove the old power supply. It is a TurboLink brand power supply, and I wanted to get this out of there because I didn't feel comfortable putting a better graphics card in with something like this that I didn't feel was very reliable. Here's the system with both components out. So I'm replacing some of the zip ties I snipped with Velcro straps instead, so cable management is easy and I don't have to actually break anything next time. So there is the new power supply I'm putting in this computer. It is an EVGA 650BQ 80 plus bronze semi-modular power supply. 650 watts should do the job more than nicely. I picked this one out because I know the brand EVGA very well. I used a lot of their stuff before, and they always have great reviews and great pricing. So this should be totally perfect for what I need. Just enough to power the existing system, a new graphics card, and anything else I might throw in there in the future. I think the best part about having a modular power supply is that you don't have any unnecessary cable clutter. Leaves more room for airflow in your case and looks better when you don't have cables dangling that aren't being used. Most computer cases aren't really made for my large hands. You can see the pile of cables that the power supply came along with. It's great having extras of stuff. And it's nice that it's all black, because black goes with everything, of course. And let's hook up a couple fans here at the end, and then it'll be time to pull out the graphics card that I have in my main gaming computer and put it into this one. So this is a system I bought pre-built in January 2014. It was my first ever actual gaming computer. And here we go, pulling out the existing graphics card, which is an Nvidia GeForce GTX 760 with EVGA superclocking. It's done me pretty well, can handle most games, just not at the highest settings. So I'm going to throw it in the Steam Machine. Gotta pop out another slot since this is a 2-slot card in the Steam Machine, and it should fit in just nicely. Let's hook up the power connectors and scooch some more cables over, and we should be all set.
Say hello to my Steam Machine.
And that is the upgraded system for use in my living room. It's always nerve-wracking powering on a system for the first time after you've done something as significant as changing out the power supply, but thankfully this one went without a hitch. It's such a relief when everything just works.
Oh!
Everything came up on the screen scaled really weirdly, so I had to adjust the resolution, but other than that, it was good to go. Now it's time for a cosmetic upgrade to the Steam Machine. I went ahead and grabbed a couple cold cathode tubes like I have in my main gaming PC, but this one's gonna be blue. themed, since there's already blue lights on the fans. These are Logicus cold cathode tubes, nothing special. So I mounted one on the top near where the case slides in, and another on the side of the motherboard. Looks pretty dang awesome. The lights also come with a little switch to toggle the lights on or off. And you'd usually install that in one of the slots in the back of the computer case, but since I want the lights to always be on, I just hid it in a compartment inside the case. So at this point, it's been a few months since I did the initial Steam Machine upgrades, and I had recently gotten Ethernet installed in the room where my main gaming PC is, so I didn't need the nice Wi-Fi card I had in that computer anymore. So I decided to put it in my Steam Machine. But the existing graphics card I had in there blocked the slot I needed in order to plug in the Wi-Fi card. So I had to upgrade my motherboard. And when you do that, it means you pretty much have to disconnect everything in your case. Maybe take out some fans so stuff can be slid out. You have to move your CPU to the new motherboard along with the cooler and the RAM. It's a whole process, and this was probably the most significant thing I've done to a computer. YouTube tutorials help a lot. You know, do plenty of research before you do something like this. Make sure you're at least semi-comfortable. So there's the old motherboard out. Taking the CPU cooler off, nice and gentle, don't bend anything. And there's thermal paste, so you gotta scrub that off using some isopropyl alcohol. Of course, there's some on the CPU itself as well. Nice and shiny, clean. I'm using this Cooler Master thermal compound, and people say you should use 100% isopropyl, but 50% did the job great. It was really easy, didn't have to push hard. And here is my existing CPU. It's an AMD FX 4300. It's really nothing special, but it makes the computer run. So there's the new ASRock motherboard I'm throwing in this computer. It was very cheap, it'll do just fine, it has the slot I need in the correct spot for the Wi-Fi card, and of course the socket fits the CPU I have just fine. Now when you get a new motherboard, it's going to come with a new I/O shield for the back of your computer case, since obviously your existing one won't match the new motherboard. So you got to pop that in there. I've applied the thermal paste and I'm throwing on the CPU cooler, which fits right onto the motherboard with no mounting issues at all. It was already set. Very easy. Hook the CPU cooler up to the CPU cooler fan slot and you're good. And now I'm just putting everything back together pretty much, screws and RAM and stuff. But I came across an issue where sliding my larger graphics card into this was not working out quite right, so I wound up putting the old graphics card in temporarily, the small one that I had before. But I eventually managed to squeeze the 760 back in there, so it all worked out. Unfortunately, I don't have that on film, but here's a picture. I also don't have installing the Wi-Fi card on film, but that's super easy. Alright, here we go with the biggest upgrade. The graphics card in my main gaming PC. I'm going from that 760 to an Nvidia GeForce GTX 1060 6GB version, EVGA superclocked, because you know I love that EVGA stuff. Here it is. Looks great, and it's smaller than my previous card. I was worried about cooling, but that issue never came up. It does just fine. Heck, most of the time the fan isn't even spinning. Came with a little rubber cover for the pins and a giant EVGA poster that I wound up hanging in my closet. Please excuse this mess. Cable management is not something they had in mind with this computer case. That big red one is the one I gotta take out, since this graphics card does not use the double connector for its power, so I can swap it out for a single, and it'll look a little better too. My 1000-watt power supply is major overkill. So let's go ahead and put the new card in. I'm super excited, and it fits just right, of course. Let's hook up the power, and we'll be all good. This computer case looks pretty good when it's all put together, but as for the quality, here's some benchmarks of the Steam Machine and gaming PC upgrades. I know these Steam Machine after numbers don't look so great, but I haven't had a single problem running any of my games. Overall, this was a really great experience. I learned a whole lot, and switching out that CPU and motherboard in the Steam Machine made it so that I've done everything it takes to put a computer together. Thanks for watching.